going to tie Morse's Anato-May Hare. We begin with a 3761 and a size 16. This is a 16th inch black tungsten bead. The thread that I'm using is a black 8/0 thread. Place the bead on the hook, start it right behind the thread, right behind the bead of the hook, and bring it back into the bend of the hook. I'm going to take 3 pheasant tail fibers and tie it in at the bend of the hook. I like the tails to extend probably 3/4 the length of the shank of the hook. You want to make sure the fibers sit on top. Now I have a tendency to cut it through, and so I take a little bit of the twist out of the thread so it flattens out a little bit more. Not even a full wrap. And then I'm going to take some, here we go, copper wire, tie in my copper wire. This is small. And it'll be my ribbing. Then I've got 6 crystal flash fibers in peacock. It's going to be used as the back strap over my abdomen, as well as the wing case for the fly and the legs. So I've got all 3 materials tied in at the same point in the back end of the fly. Now I'm just going to wrap it down. And work my way up to the back of the bead. Trim off my excess material. And just once again, wrap the thread back to the bend of the hook. Now I've got a bit of hare's ear or hare's mask dubbing. A little wax on my fingers as well as on the thread. And make a really thin noodle of dubbing. That way, the reason for the thin noodle is that you can always build it up. Guys have a tendency to use too much dubbing at the same time, and thinking that they can just slap it on. Well, it's better and looks more even if you'll just do a little bit of dubbing at a time. And it's got that nice little buggy look to it. I love using hare's mask, hare's ear. It's just still a gorgeous material, especially with all those guard hairs showing. Now my aim is to have a little bit of a taper from the back end of the fly to the front. So I've just got touching wraps all the way back up to the thorax area. Now I'm not building up my thorax yet. This is just my abdomen section. I'm going to pull those fibers, those 6 fibers of crystal flash over, and that's my back strap. I'm going to take my copper wire and palmer it up to the thorax area, usually in about 3 to 4 wraps. It's just more, I like to have it even as possible. I got a stumpy piece of wire, so I'm using my hackle pliers to help me out. I'm going to tie off my thread, tie off my wire. And break it off by just doing a little helicopter move. Now I'm going to take that crystal flash, bend it back, wrap it down a bit, and then I'm going to build up my thorax. Same material for the thorax. I'm just using hare's mask or hare's ear. And wrap that thorax. I take my crystal flash and pull it over, and that becomes my wing case. Now I'm going to split those 6 pieces of crystal flash and put 3 on each side, pull it down and to the side on both the one side and the other, and those are going to be my legs. See how, note how I'm pulling him down and back. Then I'm going to do a couple wraps of thread there, so they'll stay in place. And I'm tying him right behind the bead. Now I'm pulling them to the back, and then that's going to give me a chance to wrap that crystal flash where I want them to be for legs, and then also I'm going to trim off. Now don't trim it too short because it's going to stick out a little bit. You want those legs to go back past the thorax a little bit. Trim it off. Now I'm just taking just a tiny bit of superfine in black just as a collar. And I'm going to brush those legs back and then wrap that collar in. Little too much dubbing on there. So back it off, pull it off, and then I'll whip finish. This is a good looking fly, really buggy looking. And that's Marsha's Anato-May Hare's Hare.